Okay, I'm sitting here with Steve Brathwaite. We're here in Kumasi. It's December 11th, 2019. I'm going to ask him a few questions about Ghana from a diasporan perspective, because he's been here this year 20 years, that's 2 decades, and I've spent over half that time here with him. So, you know, I know a lot of what he knows, but I know the people are going to be watching this won't. So, welcome, Steve Brathwaite.
Thank you.
Yeah, respect. So, what made you come to Ghana, can I ask? Can you speak up because the microphone's low?
I came to Ghana searching for my roots initially. I realized that my ancestry are African and I wanted to reconnect with my African heritage. So I came to Ghana with my first experience of Africa, and when I did 20 years ago, the first 2 weeks I fell in love with the place, and I've more or less been here ever since.
Okay, that's interesting. So you're talking about your roots, your culture, you know, diaspora, 500 years background, but your mum and dad and uncles and nobody else, you know, your rest of your family, they hadn't been here.
That's right. It's true, my roots is initially straight from the Caribbean, but it's through study you realize all Africans over the world, whether they're in the Caribbean or in America or in Europe, are originally from Africa, and it's only through slavery that we've been dispersed all over the world. So my essence is to go back to the roots. So Africa is my root. So I wanted to check it out firsthand, and when I did, for the first-hand experience, I did like the place. So I said, here, I believe that I can make this place my home, and I've been trying ever since.
Well, I'd like to ask you a very poignant question, to be honest with you, because a lot of people, since I've been here, have come and gone, and they haven't survived. Some a year, some 6 months, some 4 or 5 years. I mean, 2 decades is a long time. What's enabled you, above all the other people that have come here, to actually survive for 2 decades in a foreign place where you know, you didn't have a family background as such? What is it that's different about you?
It's true, I believe every man must decide what he wants in life, and you have to be resilient about it. What made me survive is that I truly believe I belong here. I truly believe that Africa is my home. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, there's been difficulties, but home is home. So when I come across challenges, when I come across difficulties, I don't look at an alternative of running away from home. I dig deep, be more resilient, and try to overcome. So yes, it's been challenging, but I believe that it's my strong will to overcome the challenges when they come that's kept me here for as long as for 20 years.
Well, I commend you for that. But let me ask you some of the challenges. What would you say anybody coming here in 2019? This is the year of return. What would you think that if anybody came here now in 2019 and they were coming here to live, not just to look, but to set roots down and live like you did, what would be their biggest challenges that you could see now?
One of the biggest challenges is there is a big cultural difference between my background in the UK and here, and it's just the way people look upon their lives and lifestyle generally. You know, their cultural differences is one of the biggest challenges, and I can give, for example, one example. They do, and it's diverse. Ghana, remember, is made up of different, when you say culture, there's Ashanti, Northerners, and each one had their own different way of doing it. I'm particularly based in Ashanti, so I can really speak for concerning the Ashanti culture. One of the things that is challenging or different is that they're very funeral orientated. They do take their funeral very seriously. Every week they go to a funeral. Someone has a funeral, and it's a big part of their culture here. It's not something where we came from. So that's one of the things. Church is also a big part here. You know, quite a lot of people go to church a lot. It's not something where I come from. In the UK, some go to church, but not a common thing. So socially there are differences. Then there's business-wise. The business culture is very different as well. My business ventures, I find again, if you haven't got your eyes and feet on the ground watching your business, it doesn't run too well. So again, the way they do their business, their cultural and things is a lot different from where I come from. And I find that can be very challenging for people who, if they want to come and live and do business.
But that suggests to me, you said if your eyes and the feet are not on the ground, your eyes are not on the business, that suggests to me that there's something underhand going on here. That you have to literally be watching your business day and night. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, because it's the way people see, especially people from the diaspora, they see us as, you could say, a money, a means of getting money, easy money, cheap money. Not necessarily to work, to grow your business, but they just see you as a way of draining money from you.
But how would they do that if it's business? Are you saying that they're going to steal from you?
Yes, they will steal.
They'll steal from you?
They'll steal from you. They'll say that they will do this with your money and then not doing the thing that they say. They will say,
I mean, you're being very frank, but remember, this is the year of return.
yes.
And I mean, if someone hears in the year of return that business, as far as you can see, is a way of people seeing a way, rather than just doing straight business, but taking money from people who are a little bit gullible and don't know that.
That's right.
I mean, that's not exactly going to help them to.
Yeah, but it's the truth. I mean, what the biggest mistake someone comes is to be too romantic about how people do their business here. It's better to be realistic.
Were you romantic at all?
When I first came, yes.
Oh, you were. So this is a warning then.
Yes.
It sounds like a warning, because you were romantic and you're saying it's a bad thing to be too romantic.
That's right. I had big ambitions when I first came here. I wanted to build a big business empire, uplift the people, move the country forward. It's generally what people want to do when they come. But then when you deal with the people, you realize they're not interested in upliftment. They're not interested really in growing a business empire. They're really short-sighted and short-term. They just want to think, what can they get and eat today or tomorrow? They have no vision of business in the future. That's been one of my biggest challenges. Finding honourable people to do business with is one of the biggest challenges as I find. I don't find them trustworthy enough or honest enough. So, and you know, the small business I've gone into people hasn't turned into anything great.
So would you suggest that's the reason why, let's say between me and you, 90 to 95% of the people we know who's come over here to do business have left?
That's right.
Would you suggest that's the reason?
One of the main reasons, yes.
Yeah. And I mean, it's sad, but I'm glad you're bringing that point out, because you're the one who's been on the ground longer than me. And in fact, the people don't know, you're the one that actually invited me into the country after I'd already been here, and you also invited me into business. And I'm not going to tell my story, but this is your story, so I want you to put it in your own words. So, okay, these are very interesting parts, but let's cross over quickly and say, what are the good things about Ghana? What are the things that means people should really come, and if they can, try and make a go of it like you have? What would you suggest?
One of the things I love about Ghana, and I still love it to today, is the natural beauty of the place. They have one of the greatest natural resources on the planet. Abundance of water, the soil is very good in this part of the world. The air is clean, there's wildlife, there's bird life, there's trees and there's greenery. So for its natural beauty, I still think it's one of the most fantastic places on the planet. They are rich in mineral resources, timber, and gold and stuff. I believe it's been mismanaged. I think they have the basic raw materials to really grow. They have great potentials in agriculture, like I said, with nature. I think it's been underdeveloped. It needs, and I think that's really the great strength in Ghana's growth and prosperity, the agriculture. It needs to be developed more. I think there's abundance potential there, and I think that's where Ghana's future lie when it comes to where they, you know, in terms of world thing, they're like the food basket of the world. They believe that's the case. It just needs better management in organic farming, sustainable farming is the key word. Managing soil, not using too much chemicals, fertilizers, herbicides. I think that's the right direction, and I think there's great potential in that area. I'm moving into that area now in the last few years, into the farming and agricultural thing, and I think I want to promote it over the next few years.
Can I ask you then, Ghana government has made 2019 a year of return for the people of diaspora. You're not part of that actual inviting the people, but would you, Steve Brathwaite, invite the people back?
I would, but
knowing what you've just said,
we're
taking everything on board what you're just saying.
I would say that, but what I would say is not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah,
then who is it for if it's not for everybody?
One, you have to be strong-willed. You have to be your own person, your own boss. If you ain't your own person, when you come to a place like Ghana, they would force their own will upon you and manipulate you, and end up going down a road which probably is not really suited for you. So you have to be strong-willed in what you want as a person, as a character. You have to be flexible as well, be able to change and adapt as circumstances change. Ghana's quite a dynamic place. So if you're not having got that flexibility to change, you can get stuck, and again it will swallow you up. So you have to be strong-willed, you have to be flexible, and you also have to be diverse. You can't just stick with one way of doing business. So you have to learn to be diverse. So these are the qualities you need to be: flexible, diverse, and strong-willed. And if you're not in it, and I must be honest with you, I think a lot of people where it's not in them. They're not strong enough. They're not flexible enough, and they're not diverse enough to be able to cope with a lot of challenges that they will face in Ghana. If you believe that you can do it, yes, I would invite them. I'll say come and try, but it's not going to be easy. You have to learn the culture. The culture is not easy, like I said, it's different. It doesn't mean you can't adapt to it. And if you adapt to the culture, the way they do business, and you have these qualities, these basic qualities about you, I think you can try, you can make it.
You talked about business since we start speaking about people coming to. What about people who've got trades? Would it be good for people who've got a trade to come over here and try and get work?
The thing about people who has trade is that yes, you can come and trade, but the income level is far less than in Europe. So if you came as a carpenter, the carpenter daily rate would be probably 10 times less than you'd find in Europe. And your lifestyle, you won't be able to sustain purely on trade. So tradespeople, I would say, yes, you can, but you won't be able to maintain the standard of living you're used to in the UK. So unless you come with a come to business, then I think just being a tradesman will be very difficult to sustain yourself for a quality of life that you'd want to be happy with.
And since I've been here, and you know this as well, there's been a lot of guys that's come over, and ladies, individually, and they've come and they've had relationships with local people. And have you noticed that these relationships work? Are they sustainable? When men come here and meet Ghanaian women, are they sustained? When women come here and meet Ghanaian men, are they sustainable?
One of the things I've realised with relationship between Ghanaians and people outside is that most of the relationships are built on financial opportunity. So you have to expect that they are attracted to you because they believe that you're like a ticket for their financial prosperity, either to help them go abroad or to bring in financial wealth. If you're talking about, the relationship of getting to know you and things, you may struggle with that, to be honest with you. I've struggled with it in relationships here in Ghana.
That's very honest, thank you.
Yeah, so I think, it's a challenge. Not saying you can't find true love here, where people value you for who you are, but I think they'll value you for what financial wealth you can give to them. And if you don't mind it, then you can have a relationship. But remember, it's going to be financial based,
right,
rather than character based or relationship based.
And you said you were into doing farming, and you're doing you branched out into farming. Was that what you did when you first came here?
No, not necessarily.
How do you sustain yourself?
I sustain myself, and even now the farms are new. It doesn't actually sustain me. This is girl. I think she should be pausing it. Can you pause it?